Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Automox Patch Tuesday breakdown for the month of May. March provided us some unique vulnerabilities, and May has represented a lighter than typical Patch Tuesday, but not without trending security headlines. On deck today, we have myself, Nick Collier, covering the critical and noteworthy patch updates. We're also joined by Scott Schoenberger from the product management team, who will be giving us a look into the latest in Automox features and also integration updates. For those of you who are new to our Patch Tuesday series, we cut through the noise and we surface only the most critical items. With that in mind, we'll kick off with a short recap of the previous month's notable activity. We'll then spend a little more time discussing May's patch release items and specifically detailing out the most critical Microsoft vulnerabilities to patch, along with any critical out-of-band patches for Mozilla and Chrome. As previously mentioned, Scott will be giving us a quick look at the exciting and upcoming product features and integrations. And we will leave plenty of time for any questions that you all may have. So you can go ahead and use that Q&A box in the lower right-hand corner. And Jay Goodman will be joining us towards the end of our presentation to answer any of your questions. Finally, we'll be giving away a multi-tool learning kit for exploring block mechanisms this month. We'll have a single question for you to answer at the very end, and the person who answers that question correctly will be the proud new owner of that awesome giveaway. A few housekeeping items. This presentation is serviced through the On24 webinar platform. And so we have some tips for those who need a refresher or who may be unfamiliar with the layout. First, we have the slide view window. This is where we'll be actually walking through today's Patch Tuesday releases. You can resize this window, make it full screen, and customize however you prefer. As mentioned before, the Q&A box is in the lower right-hand corner, so you can go ahead and submit questions you have there as they come to mind. Keep in mind, all participants will be muted, and we'll be addressing any of those questions towards the end of the webinar. So if you've missed our April webinar, we had previously seen an overall increase in vulnerabilities coming in at 108 in total. We additionally observed a high number of critical vulnerabilities and one 0-day that was actively exploited in the wild. We also provided details on 2 information disclosure bugs that were discovered in the Automox agent and reported by Danny Jordan at Rapid7. These findings had a CVSS score of 3.3 and 3.7, respectively, represented in CVE 26908 and 26909, affecting older agent versions that have since been remediated. So again, a big thank you to Danny Jordan and also Rapid7 for helping us continue to improve and also secure our platform. All right, let's get into it. This Patch Tuesday saw 55 security fixes compared to 108 as previously tallied in the month of April from Microsoft. And that's a pretty welcome change of pace given the overall security climate. We're currently tracking 4 critical vulnerabilities, none of which are being exploited in the wild to the best of our knowledge, and also vendor communications. While that may be true for Microsoft, multiple browser-related vulnerabilities and updates exist that should be prioritized for both Chrome and Firefox. In the news, we've seen a continuation of increasing cybersecurity hostility with recent attacks by the DarkSide hacker group on commercial pipeline infrastructure. While the details are sparse at this time, these attacks demonstrate the importance of prioritizing cybersecurity hygiene with quantifiable measures. This assault has disrupted a reported 46% of the East Coast fuel supply chain. Moving on to Adobe, they released a trove of 12 new security bulletins with 9 critical updates covering 25 CVEs that are critical. The vulnerabilities cover a wide range of Adobe's portfolio, including Acrobat, Illustrator, and for the most part, a large portion of the Creative Cloud suite itself. There are 10 critical vulnerabilities in Adobe Acrobat and Reader alone, including many that affect arbitrary code execution and privilege escalation concerns. Arbitrary remote code execution vulnerabilities are very serious. They can allow for an attacker to assume control on a target system, most often within the privileges of the active user, or worse, depending upon the vulnerability circumstances. In this case, combined with the privilege escalation vulnerability disclosed in the same versions of Acrobat and Reader, attackers could potentially exploit the out-of-bounds read-write vulnerabilities and chain the exploitation mechanics. This is actually a common attacker approach, and one that we've seen recently leveraged with great success by the nation-state hacking group Halfnu against Microsoft Exchange. So, in summary, this is a particularly nefarious combination of vulnerabilities and an extremely common piece of software. The vulnerabilities cover many versions dating back to 2017. We also have seen several updates to Firefox, Firefox ESR, and Thunderbird that were released. They address 2 critical and 2 medium vulnerabilities, along with 1 medium for Thunderbird. As for Chrome updates, 19 vulnerabilities were addressed in the latest stable channel release, 17 of which were rated high. As always, patching critical vulnerabilities within the ever-important first 72 hours is vital in maintaining a safe and secure infrastructure. We recommend all Adobe customers quickly patch and remediate this large set of disclosures as soon as possible to maintain proper cyber hygiene. So now we'll dig into the details around the critical Microsoft vulnerabilities addressed yesterday. First, we have a critical remote code execution vulnerability, no surprise there, that impacts Internet Explorer 11 and 9 running on multiple versions of Microsoft Windows and Windows Server. In a web-based attack scenario, an attacker hosting a maliciously crafted website can exploit the vulnerability through Internet Explorer and using social engineering. This also includes the leverage of ActiveX controls in an application or even a Microsoft Office document using the IE rendering engine itself. Next up is a remote code execution vulnerability that impacts a variety of Windows 10, 32, and 60-bit flavors of Windows Server. This vulnerability could enable an unauthenticated attacker who sends a maliciously crafted payload to exploit HTTP.sys on a remote host, giving them the ability to execute arbitrary code and potentially compromise the system. There is currently no known workaround, and Automox recommends prioritizing the patching of CVE 2021-31166 when possible. Moving on to another Microsoft critical security flaw, we have the Windows Object Linking and Embedding, or OLE for short, automation, that could lead to a remote code execution scenario when exploited successfully. To exploit this vulnerability, an attacker must successfully invoke OLE automation on a target system through a browser. It's also worth note that OLE has frequently been utilized in the past by hackers for multiple reasons, ranging from masking malicious code within documents to also linking external files that infect systems with malware. In 2020, CISA released an alert detailing the top 10 routinely exploited vulnerabilities, and it specifically identified that Microsoft's OLE was a top contender in commonly exploited vectors for state-sponsored cyber actors. Considering this, organizations should immediately prioritize patching these vulnerabilities. Last but not least, a remote code execution vulnerability exists within Microsoft Windows Hyper-V, which is a native hypervisor that can create and run virtual machines on systems running Windows. Running a specially crafted application on a Hyper-V guest could cause the host operating system to execute arbitrary code due to improper validation of VSMB packet data. Successful exploitation could enable an attacker to run malicious binaries on the Hyper-V virtual machines or execute arbitrary code on the host system itself. The security flaw affects an extensive list of Windows versions and should be prioritized to account for the critical severity rating and low attack complexity that is associated. That covers all we have for critical vulnerabilities of this month's Patch Tuesday release. And so now I'm going to hand it over to my colleague Scott, who is going to briefly cover the recent Automox platform updates. So Scott, take it away.
Awesome. Thanks, Nick. Morning, everybody, or good day, depending on where you are. Wanted to do a couple quick updates here and a sneak peek of something that we've been working on pretty hard for a couple months. So first and foremost, advanced reboot flexibility. So this is something that we heard loud and clear from customers in the last few months in terms of making reboot notifications a little bit more customizable. So basically, we had kind of a limitation around our reboot notifications only being displayed for 15 minutes. So that can cause an issue, of course, if users aren't paying attention or they just step away from their computer briefly. There's a chance, of course, that that they'll miss the notification, their computer will restart unexpectedly. So what we did, we went ahead and added additional notification times and reboot deferral options. This is live right now, so IT admins who are setting up policies will have the ability to show a notification for up to 8 hours, as well as configure an automatic deferral option. So if the user doesn't acknowledge a reboot notification in time, then the reboot will be deferred automatically on behalf of the user. This should help quite a bit with, again, those unexpected reboots. So this is live now. Just wanted to let everyone know. So when you go to configure a new policy, these options will be available. And then the other thing that I wanted to show, this is a little bit of a granulated image, and I apologize about that, but one feature that we've been working on very hard for the last couple of months is deepening our integration specifically with CrowdStrike. So CrowdStrike active subscribers and folks that are in trial will have the ability to, in their Spotlight vulnerability dashboard, queue up CVEs and KBs for immediate remediation on the Automox platform. Basically what will happen, the workflow will be someone queues something up in Spotlight, comes over to Automox and makes sure to review all of the patches that are going to be pushed as a part of that CVE remediation effort and individual devices. Once they kick that job off, they'll be able to get real-time statistics around the job completion, because of course we know some of these are going to be very critical patches and things that IT admins are going to want to follow closely. So you'll be able to see how many are successful, how many failed, things that are in progress still, and things that are pending. There will be a detailed report that's specific to that CVE job that's available, both while the job's in progress and also while after it's completed. So this is really exciting. We're hoping to be in GA by July, but I am actively recruiting beta testers. Another thing that I wanted to point out is we are working hard to include other EDR partners in this paradigm. So the idea would be that, we would be able to ingest kind of these jobs, whether they're threat related or not, and kind of take direction from third-party partners around things that need to be patched. So really excited about this one. And that's it for me. Guess we'll move to
Thank you
Q&A.
very much, Scott.
Yep.
All right, so at this point, we'll open it up for Q&A. We have Jay Goodman here on the line with us. We can begin.
Yeah, absolutely. We got a couple of questions out there right now. One is, will there be a link that we can rewatch this webinar later? Yes, anyone who's registered or attending the webinar today will get a link to the recording in the email they used to register. Additionally, you can find the webinars on our website or on our YouTube channel. Another question. Is there an update for Automox to be able to patch Adobe products without the need of worklets? So I sent a quick message to the person asking about this, but in general, we have an issue with how Adobe and some other software vendors are limiting our ability to patch third-party solutions. So we're currently working on an alternative solution that'll allow not only for us to patch more broadly across many third-party applications, but also to help support even bespoke or in-house created software that needs to be patched at at all of our customers' environments. But the news on that will come in the future. And then the last question I see is there a way to get auto-enrolled in all future briefings? I don't want to miss any. Yes, we can do that. Just feel free to reach out to us, and Taylor can get you set up for that. And then I see one last question here. Any updates regarding the Dell vulnerability DSA 2021-088? I am not familiar with that one. Nick or Scott, are you familiar with that vulnerability?
I am not currently familiar with that vulnerability, but I can certainly take a look and see the more context around that, and we can circle back out of band.
Yep, absolutely. So we'll reach out to Jorge on that and get you an answer. But at this point, we don't have an answer for you on the call today. With that, I don't see any additional questions. I'll hang on the line though in case any pop up. I can't advance the slide. Nick, do you want to advance it to the multi-tool kit giveaway?
Sure thing. Thank you very much, Jay. And so at this point in time, I think this is probably everyone's favorite part of the webinar, which is the giveaway. So what we have today is a multi-tool training kit. This is multifunctional kit. It has the mechanisms visible for exploration, and you can learn different techniques for torsion, breaking, all of the fun stuff that goes with learning how to lockpick, right? And so in order to get this kit today, you need to answer one very simple question. This month's question is very, very easy. And so I want you to get ready, bring up the Q&A box if you don't have it handy already. And the first person to correctly answer the question will win. So I think everyone should be ready. And today's question is, what hacker group is responsible for the commercial pipeline infrastructure attack currently in the news and mentioned earlier in our presentation? I'll repeat the question. What hacker group is responsible for the commercial pipeline infrastructure attack that we're seeing currently in the news and also mentioned earlier in our presentation? It looks like We can sort by winner here. It looks like Christopher is our winner today. So thank you very much, Christopher, for being so quick to answer. You will be receiving the multi-tool training kit, and someone from our team will be connecting with you to get the details. And so in closing for today, before we go, I want to let you know of an exciting upcoming webinar on May 24th. This webinar will be led by Peter Ritter, Senior Manager of the Strategic Alliances team here at Automox. He will be covering how to use patch and endpoint management with EDR. And that's a hot topic in our current news climate, so please be sure to join us by signing up using the registration link within the resource listing for the webinar. Should be on the right-hand side of your screen. Thank you all for joining our Patch Tuesday breakdown, and we hope to see you again next month or in one of our other virtual events. Take care, everyone, and have a wonderful day.